and welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. By the close of play tonight, we will have our completed lineup for Saturday night's finals night. And to determine who is going to join Neil Duff, Conan Whitehead and Bradley Roos, 10 more games to be played over the course of tonight's action. Before we get into that, though, let's remind you of how things unfolded last night as the action got underway in Group B. Andy Jenkins will be scratching his head, wondering how he only has one win to his name, having delivered high-quality performances throughout the opening night. In a wide-open group, Niall Cullerton is one of 3 on 4 points, this 1-3-7 securing the points against Jenks. Johnny Haynes was a weekly winner back in January, another player who played well, finished strongly, but will need to score more consistently. Matt Dennant put in the performance of the night against Johnny Haynes, this ton out completing a 15, ending with a 98 average. But Stuart White leads the way at the halfway point, having lost just one game. He took out a 1-4-2 as well as this 1-5-4 against Haynes. An incredibly congested league table at the halfway point. Really intrigued to see how things unfold, Chris Mason.
Yeah, it's wide open, even as far down at the foot of the table where Andy Jenkins finds himself just on 2 points. He's well in the mix. I think he can afford one defeat tonight. He's going to have to win 3 out of 4 to be in the mix. It's 3 places, of course, in Group B. And as you can see, Stuart White is at the top of the table. On 6 points, which may be a bit of a surprise because he went under the radar. Yeah, I mentioned it there as well. Andy Jenkins will be scratching his head, won't he? Wondering how he only has 2 points because his performance levels were so consistent. Yeah, I mean, he played 28 legs of darts, which is the maximum he could have played last night. Lost 3-4-3 and 1-1-4-3. So in terms of legs, it's 15-13 in favour of the rest of the field. That's how close it's been for him. And you know him very well. He'll still be very confident of making it through to finals night. He is very good friends with Neil Duff, who, of course, topped Group A on Wednesday. How much of an added incentive is that for him? Because he'll want to be there competing against him. Yeah, ironically, he was chatting to him a little bit earlier. They caught up and had a chat and a bit of a chill out. And Andy's got like a great attitude. He's very laid back. Listen, he's going to try his absolute socks off to qualify, but ultimately he's just here to play darts. And if it goes his way, it goes his way. If it doesn't, it doesn't really matter. He's fairly chilled out about it, but he's always desperate to qualify for finals night. Very popular in the area, of course, and will bring a lot of fans. And the overall standard in Group B, we can have a look at some of the numbers now. It has been the best quality group of the week by quite some distance. Really impressive checkout percentage over the course as well. Yeah, and of course that marries up nicely with the overall average, 86 across the board, and a stunning finishing percentage, 36-48. Those two metrics, the highest we've seen and the best leg of the week so far, a 10-darter from White. And Matty Dennant as well. We'd mentioned in the build-up to Group B getting underway that he's put in a few decent performances of late that'll make people sit up and take notice. He did exactly that last night as well. Yeah, I think you mentioned it before the off last night at the weekend. Although he was defeated in the Pro Tour, averaged in excess of 103 in defeat. So that gave us a little insight into how well he's playing. And that was converted in terms of performance last night. And as a result, there has to be value in Matthew Dennant at 2-1 to top the group come the end of tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, he could quite capably go through the card tonight unbeaten and go 4 out of 4, and then it would be up to the rest of the field. But listen, it's going to be tough for anybody to go through the card unbeaten this evening because it is that tight in terms of levels of performance. The only one that was a little disappointing last night, Niall Cullerton, who didn't really produce the kind of form we expect from him. But as we've seen from Bradley Roos today, you know, you can bounce back and go again. Would you be at all tempted by Johnny Haynes? Because his finishing was really impressive. If he can marry that with the scoring, which we know he has in his locker, he's certainly going to be a big threat. Yeah, but he'd have to go 4. Like I said, he's going to have to go 4 out of 4. I think the players, as we've seen last night, Stuart White especially, he went 3 out of 4, but what a struggle he had to do that. And look at some of the finishing he had to produce.
And let's have a look then at Aces Acker for this evening's action. It returns almost 9-1. Talk us through your selections there.
Yeah, today's landed at 11-2, so let's hopefully we can do the double. I've gone white handicap betting against Jenks at 2-1. Haynes against Dennant. Dennant the match winner at 8-11. White versus Cullerton. White most 180s at 10-11. Pays 8.89-1.
Very interesting indeed. As we mentioned, it is an incredibly intriguing group because it is so congested at the moment. Who are your three to come through?
I think Stuart White will hold on to the lead. I'm not sure that he would necessarily top the table, but I like the look at him, and I think I'll go Johnny Haynes and Matt Dennant, but I wouldn't be shocked if Jenks somehow found a way to do it.
Right then, let's see how everything unfolds and hand over to Henry Deacon to get proceedings underway.
Thank you very much, Abby. Very good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the final session of qualification here at the MODUS Super Series. By the end of play this evening, we will know the Super Six that will progress their way through to finals night tomorrow evening. And already the cast list is looking quite impressive. We have the reigning WDF World Champion in Neil Duff. We have a former champion here in Conan Whitehead, who is in white-hot form and is looking not just to qualify through this week, but to become the first player in this competition to pick up the title twice. Bradley Roos, the impressive young Dutch star, is also going to be in there. Stuart White is the player to beat following the first night of action here, but you've got two players who at their very, very best can give us some stratospheric darts. Johnny Haynes, 4 points from his opening day, and you feel like there's still some gears to go, and that's despite some impressive performances on day one. A 94.5 average against White. That came in a losing average yesterday. And in the final game of the session, which is the first one of this, Johnny Haynes at 87.13 average and 4 out of 9 on the doubles. Impressive when you consider the time of night the game was played as well. For Noel Cullerton, his session yesterday, the games he won, he was impressive in, but his 2 defeats in the session both came with averages below the 80 mark. They both came by 4 legs to nil. So he'll be hoping that it'll be more of the positive signs tonight as opposed to those 2 4-0 drubbings that he accrued yesterday. Joining me in the commentary box for all of the action over the course of the next few hours or so to finalise the last few places into tomorrow night's final. It's a very good evening, Chris Mason.
Evening, Henry. And, well, it's a session I'm very much looking forward to. Abby asked me the question. Who were my 3 to go through? Who's yours 3?
Dennant, Haynes,
45.
And I think the last spot's going to be between Jenkins and White.
100.
Get your thinking. This was our
81.
Final match of the session last night. Well, the early hours of the morning, around 1 a.m. And it was Johnny who handed out a bit of a thumping. Never quite know with Johnny Haynes. Sometimes if he's in the mood, he'll go for his shots, but sensibly laying up there. He averaged 87 in that victory last night against Niall.
Game shot of the first leg, Johnny Haynes.
And makes a rapid start to this one. 14 dart, break a throw.
We hope that is the tempo in which tonight is going to carry on by, because we saw some fantastic stuff in this session yesterday evening. And in fairness to Johnny Haynes, he got caught up in 1 or 2 yesterday. I was mentioning on your way down from the balcony that game with Stuart White in the middle of the session yesterday, where he averaged 94.5, just over 94.5, and it still wasn't enough. And that was because Stuart White was 4 out of 4 in his finishing and had 2 ton-plus checkouts. It was back-to-back legs where he had a 154 and a 142.
Yeah, that was absolutely outstanding, that performance. Performance of the night went to, well, that probably was performance of the night.
100.
In terms of game of the night. Probably performance of the night belongs to Matty Dennant, who averaged just under 98.
60.
In a 4-1 win against Johnny Haynes, who averaged just shy of 90. And the average for the evening, very close to 87.
39.
And that's right up there.
And especially when you consider the amount of legs that was played last night. It wasn't one of those sessions where we had a lot of 4-0s, even though we did have a couple in there. They were kind of then met in the middle by a number of 4-3s. While Andy Jenkins, every single one of his games went 4-3 in the end.
121.
Yeah, and he did have an opportunity, didn't he? He had full darts at a double in the deciding leg of his match against Stuart White, who he will be playing in our next match. And that would have hurt because 2 from the 4 is pretty much minimum requirement. It puts you in the mix.
135. Johnny will require 100.
1v5 keeps him in the equation, but it's Haynes who's going to get a go at the tongue. For a 2-0 lead and about to break up with a hold. Drill 15 will be the shot. For tops.
Game shot on the
For a
second
tongue
leg,
topper
Johnny
for 2-0
Haynes.
to Johnny Haynes. Just trudges his way back to the board. All business, Johnny Haynes. You won't see any histrionics coming from the Swindon slinger.
100.
Niall's first max of the night at the beginning of leg 3. Going to need a bit of a charge from this point onwards. Hasn't won a leg against Johnny Haynes yet this week.
140.
Great reply from Johnny Haynes, who's made a quick start.
140.
Made a winning start last night against Andy Jenkins, where he averaged just shy of 90, couple of 180s, 4 out of 9 on the doubles.
100.
Only just edged it though against Andy, 4-3, which was the theme for the night for Jenks. And at the moment, in terms of the way he started, he's starting better than last night. 98.05 the current average.
100. Now you require 81.
Cullerton leaving 81 after 9. Double 12 for 2-1. And done in the space of 4 visits. This is a really impressive contest. In terms of winning legs in this match, a 12 in the previous one, 18 in the second, but then to start a 14 by Johnny Haynes. This has been some really, really good standard stuff here.
Top draw tungsten right now.
140.
Both players finding a max.
140.
Not quite sure whether it's a change of stem. Certainly a change in terms of colour for Niall Cullerton.
100.
Actually, speaking to Niall last night, and it did, as we have a look at the stem
85.
setup, there's a massive rucksack, and in that rucksack there's plenty of combinations when it comes to the stem and flights. He has those all in one systems, does Niall, and he's got boxes
60.
full of them. A bit like at school, you know, when someone had that rucksack full of stuff that they got from the shop.
40.
Purchased? Not in my school.
We're allowed to talk about it this time of night.
45.
Well, 45 has just opened the door for Cullerton. And Niall does have an array of different darts in terms of coating and colour, which he has
140.
switched around throughout the week. Dart players are fickle. Some days you just pick up something you like and it works.
Johnny requires 16.
Working at the moment, however, a very strong leg
Johnny Haynes.
from Johnny Haynes. A 16-dart hold gives him a 3-1 lead, and he's the first player on the hill. A win here for Johnny, and he will join Stuart White on 6 points.
Talking about the curious case of Niall Cullerton at night time. A lot of players, when we talk about players, they got loads of stuff in the bag, and that's usually because they got different types of darts. And
31.
The setup is pretty much the same, but just with different elements towards it.
Yeah, it's just colours and and coatings.
96.
The actual barrel itself and the flight and stem are all the same.
140.
Johnny Haynes is very much an old school setup with the traditional flight and stem and rings.
85.
I'm pretty sure those particular stem,
140.
the end that the flight sits in, is they've got a little bit of movement so they can spin.
Bit like what David Cameron uses.
100.
Well, what Cullerton's using is the very modern. Well, years ago when they used to do the one-piece nylon
60.
flight and stem, it was very much what you'd find on a fair. They were pretty much laughed at.
79.
Now it's
Johnny require
the in thing.
130.
There's Johnny Haynes going to have the last laugh in this game. 130 for the match. He's not going to get a go with the bull.
58. Niall, you require 96.
It's to save it for Niall. 76 left. And double. And he
56.
might be in severe trouble as far as this
Johnny
group is
requires
concerned. This is to move
72.
Johnny Haynes onto 6 points and to the top of the table on legs difference temporarily. It's going to be one dart in his hand at tops.
52. Niall, you require 40.
Can Niall hold and close the gap to just one? Finds the
Inch on
tops.
fifth leg, Niall Cullerton.
Longest leg of the match, but that matters not to Niall Cullerton. And a match dart
Sixth leg, Johnny to throw
for
first.
Johnny Haynes.
Game on.
And he has the throw.
96.
And his throw has not been broken in the match. The only breaker throw is for Johnny Haynes.
100. $96. 100.
309 should start downstairs, but he's going to start up. So Tom 40 will mean he'll be left on a bogey on 169.
60.
Mind you, you can't leave a bogey if you don't hit a treble.
No such trouble
140.
for Cullerton. Finds two trebles down to 161. Pressure on Haynes.
100. Now you require 161.
Three players safely through. Group A winner. Neil Duff.
45. Johnny require 149.
Group C winner. Conan Whitehead, and Group C runner-up Bradley Roos. Three of the field of six safely through in tomorrow night's final. Why don't you join us?
89. Now you require 116.
Gonna be some night of darts.
76. Johnny requires 60. 50.
You can join us by heading over
40.
to dartshop.tv. Tickets are free
Inch on the
with
sixth
a
leg, Niall
£2
Cullerton.
booking fee as Cullerton levels things up. If you're a bit of a techie and you've got
Seventh and final leg, Niall
one of
to
them
throw first.
scanner things
Game
on
on.
your phone, there you are. Give that QR code a scan. It'll take you straight to the booking page. We're on London Road in Portsmouth.
85.
Doors open at 6:30. Action underway at 7:30. Final will start at 11 p.m.
140.
I had a little chat with Conan Whitehead after he left the building this afternoon, and he said that he's bringing a fair few with him. He's hoping to bring,
38.
well, pretty much a not a minibus, but a minibus worth of people down to the Live Lounge in Portsmouth tomorrow. Very popular player. Andy Jenkins gets through. Good luck getting a ticket.
140.
Well, he brought a few with him the week he won, and then he had a big crowd of supporters in for
45.
Champions finals night, which of course he went on to win.
60.
Said if you don't have a phone to scan the QR code, it's
100. Johnny Require
www.dartshop.tv.
161. $100.
Has options here. Maybe looking at the 19s. And that's why.
133.
Leaves a straight turn.
Johnny Require 61.
Just giving Haynes a little bit of a poke on the shoulder. 25 for 36 for the match. Well, he's dropped his final dart on the floor, so he's had to come back to recompose. Big dart, big moment.
43.
Doesn't go, and so Cullerton's back for a ton.
100.
And maybe it's his turn to move on to 6 points in the group alongside Stuart White. Tots maybe? Tots was what he went for.
40.
This is the first time he's
Johnny
had
Require 18.
3 darts in hand at a double, and he will split 10 for double 4. Loves this side of the board.
14.
Oh dear. So
Johnny
6
Require
darts now
60.
to win this contest.
Cullerton's going to get 2 of his own,
Game,
and he
shot,
only
and the match,
needs the
Noel
one in a
Cullerton.
game that Johnny Haynes had full control of. Now Cullerton is the one who could find that match-winning double to win 4-3, to move him on to 6 points in the group. Quality contest, 86 and 80 respectively, but it is 3 from 12 on the doubles that has ultimately cost Johnny Haynes in the end. 5 darts missed a double in that last leg to get it won. Now Cullerton 4 from 7 when it came to the outer ring. So it's the Irishman who gets the first points of the evening, and after the break we're going to see the local favourite Andy Jenkins in action. He takes on the league leader overnight Stuart White in a bookending battle.
So it's top against bottom next to Stuart White takes on Andy Jenkins. Performance levels weren't the issue for Jenks last night. He was just unable to turn decent displays into points. Can he make the perfect start and close the gap on those above him here? Let's find out in the company of Mace and Henry.
Thank you very much, Abby. So a big night incoming for Portsmouth's very own Andy Jenkins when he played every single allotted leg that he could have last night, but could only muster one win for his effort. So if he is going to progress his way through to tomorrow night's finale in front of his home crowd here at the Live Lounge, well, he's going to have to put on a spurt on Friday evening. He takes on the man at the top of the table in Stuart White. His timing last night was up there with the best of them, winning 3 of his 4 matches, and he did so in different ways. Sometimes he had to go for the well, and sometimes he pulled out inspired moments, including those 2 ton-plus finishes in that 4-2 victory in the middle game against Johnny Haynes. But the question, as far as the Rhino is concerned, what we're going to see from him tonight?
Well, he most definitely dodged a bullet against Jenks last night. As I mentioned in our opening match, he had 4 darts at the double in the last leg. And you talk of timing, well, Jenks' first max of the night came in that final leg of the match. And then, like I say, I had 4 darts at a double to win it 4-3. And then Stuart dodged a bit of a bullet 93 again against Matty Dennant, where Matty Dennant averaged 90.14 in defeat 4-3. Stuart had an 86.84.
46.
Found 3 180s. That match had 5 maxes in it. And it has to be said, that match against Johnny Haynes, who averaged nearly 95, was 2 out of 4 on the doubles, had 108 finish, 2 180s. Stuart, 4 out of 4 on the doubles, a 92.13, 2 180s himself, and those finishes you mentioned, 154 followed by a 142, and that was the vast difference between 81. The two.
It was a little bit good.
Slight change of equipment for Jenks. He's gone for literally a slightly longer stem.
140.
Only by a couple of mil, but it just feels like they're just sitting up a little bit better.
55.
For the non-dart player watching, what will that add, Randy?
It'll just feel like they're
100.
basically, when a dart leaves the hand, it'll wibble and weep before it finds its landing position, and
48.
more specifically the angle of entry.
136.
And what you ideally want is either them to sit up like that, so when they're in the 60, the bed is pretty much open.
58.
Or if you're a stacker, it's a Robert Owen type player, then you want them the other way. Just by adding a little bit of length, they won't end
58.
up as flat. So they'll just sit up a little bit more. But it is very throw specific, and positioning of your grip on the barrel.
Game shot on the first leg.
And that
Stuart
is
White.
typical Stuart White.
18 dart leg, opening leg break for Stuart White against Andy Jenkins, and picking up where he left off yesterday. Much to Andy's bemusement.
Yeah, and he probably would have felt like he was sort of controlling the early stages of the leg.
$59.
And of course, with Andy using a pear-shaped flight, they will naturally go through the air a lot quicker because there's less drag. Actually, they're more of a kite than a pear, aren't they? Or somewhere in between.
We'll be doing more pieces like this with Mace and our fellow pundits here at the Super Series. It's one of those technical analytical bits that we're trying to add to the programme.
Yeah, so if you are
45.
watching via
Stuart Require
our YouTube channel,
170.
make sure you subscribe. Give us a quick thumbs up and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Went for it.
140.
That's almost the perfect segue to say that if you also tune in, you can watch the highlights, because hopefully by saying
59.
that would be on the highlights to
Stuart
bring people to watch
30.
more highlights.
10 for double 10.
Games on the second leg. Stuart
Clinical.
White.
On the doubles, 14 dart hold. 94 the average.
Third leg, Andy to throw first. Game on.
Jenks not getting a sniff. I said I think he could afford to lose one match, but certainly not anymore. And that will make him feel a whole lot better.
The thing is, if Stuart White's going out like that with the darts, it's forcing Andy Jenkins to have a 4-visit leg.
96.
He may go 1 visit fewer.
140.
You'll be a little annoyed not to hit back-to-back maxes there, because there was acres of room.
60.
I'll tell you one thing, if Andy Jenkins becomes the first player to hit a 9-darter here in front of a crowd, we are never, ever, ever in the history of time
100.
going to be allowed to hear the end of it.
And rightly so.
190.
Stuart White getting involved in the maxes.
Double 12 for an 11.
Teams
This
on
is
the
a
third leg,
high-quality
Andy
contest in
Jenkins.
brewing here.
Super leg of darts.
Fourth leg, Stuart to throw first. Game on.
Not the lowest leg of the week. That belongs to this man, doesn't it? Had a 10-darter last
60.
night.
Just to sum up how good that last leg was from both players, there was only 1 visit between the pair that
100.
didn't have a treble in. We carry on with the 180s, we might have to turn the board.
121.
Stuart White, very much a player that sort of grinds you into submission.
$60.
And this is the thing about the ADC system, is there's Stuart Whites all over the country that hasn't had the opportunity to really show themselves on a
96.
stage like this.
Well, that's what is exciting about the ADC. It was something I was actually discussing with Jenks a little earlier, that listen a bit, how hard is it now
100.
to qualify for anything like this with the amount of money available? And now there's multiple avenues.
55. Stuart require 160.
Potentially by entering an event in the midweek, which would be typical to any local open you would have accrued over the years, you could win £5,000. He's looking for tots or 160.
140.
I've seen it from Trina Gulliver today. Not replicated by Stuart White. Well, that will annoy Andy to... If he'd have gone for an 18, he'd have been on 170 and now getting a dart at the ball.
136. Stuart require
And he's got to
20.
hope that that 136 has applied ample scoreboard pressure upon Stuart White.
Range on
Not
the
that it
foreleg,
did.
Stuart
That's a
White.
16 dart leg to lead 3-1. There's a pattern of play as far as legs won in this game. Since leg 1,
Fifth leg,
that's
Andy
the
to
first
throw
leg
first.
won over
Game
the
on.
course of 5 years. Everything's been 6 or less. 18 darts for the first leg. Then we've seen a 14 in the process
96.
as well. That was followed by that brilliant 11 darter by Andy Jenkins, and then the 16 there for Stuart White, which has put him on the hill against Jenkins.
95.
Averaging 96.7, Stuart White. 50% on the doubles.
40.
Going to be tough to get anything out of tonight. I feel 8 points may well just be about enough. And he's
100.
306 points away from reaching those 8 points.
100.
He will certainly have 1 foot in tomorrow night's final.
$80.
And would pretty much put him on the hill for qualification as well.
$85.
Jenks was looking for at least a 25 there to leave 160. How much damage is done?
$95.
Not too bad. Oh, big finishes
100.
was his forte.
131.
This is actually a tiddler in comparison to some of the ones he finished off yesterday. But the 1-3-1 isn't going to go for the match, and so Jenkins returns to 80 to bring it back to 3-2.
Yeah, single 14 leaves him tops, so the 80 has got to go.
91. Andy Roy, 80.
Double 10, 2 in hand. Double 5. It's found, it's 3-2, but this is the leg that Stuart White has the darts in to get the job done and to move himself onto 8 points.
Some super clutch finishing from both.
First. Game on.
81 on the 11 darter by Jenks, and that 80 there. In the context of this match, that may be huge, that 80.
Well, both his legs have been won with those treble to double combination finishes. His
60.
first was that 81, which of course he notched for that 11 dart leg, the best of the game so far, the best of the night so far, only been trumped this week by Stuart White's 10 in yesterday's proceedings.
140. $97.
63 adrift, Jenks, plus these. Well, he's going to need.
123.
He's going to need 6 perfect. It's not going to happen.
92. Stuart Roy, 158.
So 6 and 158 for Stuart White to get the job done. But a couple of strayers.
Yeah, this could be an opening.
68.
How big was that last dart?
That's a huge recovery, and it means that worst case scenario, the next visit, if Jenkins leaves himself on a finish, which he needs a treble to do exactly so, and he does that, means that he should, in the worst case scenario, give himself a dart at the bullseye to get this game won. Well, he went for the 18s. He's getting confident. He's saying that Jenkins will not take out the 155. 11 will leave himself
50.
tops if
Andy Roy,
he returns.
155.
Big shot, big moment, but it won't go for Jenkins.
Trouble 9, well, trouble 17 to really put pressure on the tops.
97. Stuart Roy.
I've seen no
40.
indication that with 3 in hand he's going to miss. He's on 50%. This should go.
Game,
And does.
shot, and the match.
And Stuart White with a 4-2 win. A very good performance from both. Andy Jenkins in defeat, 89.06. And it's 93.37. And 4-2 the scoreline. 4 out of 9 on the doubles. The high finish for him there, 78. Best leg of the match, and 11 for Andy Jenkins. When we come back, we'll see our 5th player in this field of 5 as Johnny Haynes takes on Matt Dennant.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code.
Or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon. So then, Johnny Haynes needs to put the disappointments of his opening game behind him pretty quickly here. Looked in total control against Cullerton, but missed 9 at double and from 3-1 up, lost out in a decider. Can he return to winning ways here to join Cullerton on 6 points? Looking forward to seeing how this one unfolds in the company, once again, of Chris and Henry.
Thanks, Abby. Well, Johnny Haynes will be looking to bounce back and don't really want to be going up against Matty Dennant when you want to try and do that. This was a win for Matty last night, and emphatic fashion as well, winning 4-1 with a 97.89. And as you can see there, the King's Head on his shirt. That's his dad's pub, Gary. They're in Walsall.
First leg,
And
Johnny
they're all
to throw
tuned in,
first.
including
Game
Dave
on.
Carval, who's watching closely. You're all having a good night there. I'm sure last orders has
95.
not been called yet. Maybe having a lock-in. Oops. I think pubs can stay open to as long as they want nowadays, can't they?
They kind of did that anyway, just
Yeah.
what they didn't know didn't hurt. I remember doing one of them the night before the Euro final.
118.
What did you have, about 3 shandies? Oh, you went radio, didn't you?
Learned about the joys of Malibu and milk.
100.
Don't knock it till you try it. We had the jukebox on and the landlord had only 3 songs on the playlist. 3 Lions,
100.
Sweet Caroline and Year 3000 by Busted.
No, 2 out of the 3.
55.
Although in fairness, if you knew the song Year 3000 by Busted, you wouldn't claim to want to
30.
know it anyway. As for this leg, Haynes has left himself on 158 after
Johnny
12.
O'Barr, 158.
Will be scratching his head how he didn't pick up the points against Niall Cullerton in his opener.
He didn't make a
98.
winning start to his campaign last night. He went down 4-3 to Stuart Wyatt. We've seen make a winning start to his campaign this evening. That's got him back in the
Johnny O'Barr,
mix.
60.
Tops.
Game shot on the first leg. Johnny
1-0,
Haynes.
17 darter. Prime, Johnny Haynes.
Second leg, Matt to throw first.
Even though he wasn't top
Game
of the
on.
table in terms of points yesterday, Matt Dennant, I felt that his performances over the course of 4 games was probably the most consistent of the 5 players in the field.
Yeah,
60.
absolutely. That's echoed in those averages. 90.14, 93.94, 88.57, and 97.89. So a running average well over 90 for the night.
$97. $81. $140.
And a big winner in the open exchanges has to be Niall Cullerton,
60.
defeating Johnny Haynes and going into second place, and then seeing Andy defeated by Stuart White. He won't worry about Stuart White. He'll want Stuart White to beat everybody except himself.
Well, you pick your battles wisely, and that was not the one for him. It's making sure the rest below you don't pick up points, and you don't mind then if there's a runaway leader. Just guarantee your place first. I know that there's different mechanisms for finishing in certain positions in the group, but that doesn't really matter if you're not there.
$76.
And leaving 32 after 15 to respond to Johnny Haynes' 17 in the first, over 16 in the second.
32. Games on the
Double
second
16
leg,
with dart
Matt
16,
Dennett.
and we're level at 1 apiece.
Third leg, Johnny to throw first. Game on.
I love the way that he just gave a little bit of a look, that 180 Johnny Haynes, almost with a little bit of pride as to what he did there with that visit.
Warming up nicely, this one.
60.
Had all the ingredients to be a top quality match. So far, not disappointing.
$100.
I did say to you off air, didn't I, that I thought this would be nothing other than good, and so far it's living up to that particular billing.
134.
Now, both players got a really good record in terms of qualifying for finals night. Prior to this week, Matt Dennon's been here 4 times, qualified for the final on 3 occasions. Johnny Haynes has been here 3 times and qualified twice. Is he going to give us one of our favourite shots? The 127 and game will not be breached on this particular occasion, but he's got the luxury of time with Dennett back on 299. It's been an exceptional leg for Haynes, although he misses the big number there just as we try and big him up. 43 after 12.
133. Johnny Roar, 43.
And he's going to have 6 from here if he so wants it. Level 10.
23.
He is going to return. All Matt can do is try and provide a bit of pressure. Providing pressure, he will.
134. Johnny Roar, 20.
What pressure?
On the third leg,
Pressure's for
Johnny
tyres.
Haynes.
17, 16 and 16 the darts used in the
Game on.
opening 3 legs. Both players now into the 90s.
140. 97. 100.
If you were to look up the dictionary definition of a solid darts match, well, they'd probably provide you a link to this particular
100.
contest, because this is exactly what it's been. 91, 96 the averages, and it's only going to climb from Matt Dennon's perspective as he piles in a second max. This is going from good to excellent from the scholar's perspective.
Yeah, some lag. 140 ton, 180. 81 left after 9.
100.
Possible. 11 darter. We've seen one from Andy Jenkins already tonight. He doesn't need to go 12 ball.
49.
Sensible play.
And he may well dispel the spell of 6 visit legs. It could well be a 13 here for Denon if he can get it first time of asking, but he's not going to be under pressure of getting it in this visit. He's got a couple of goes at this if he so wants it, but gets it done with the first visit. 15 darter, 2-2.
Fifth leg, Johnny to throw
Average now
first. Game on.
approaching 95. Both players 50% on their doubles after 4 completed legs.
137. $81.
Reminder, you can get in contact with the action this evening at the Super Series. It is at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. And in your best tweets, and we'll get them sent through to us here in the commentary box, and we'll read out your observations on this Friday evening. And to those of you who may have just joined us following a super day in
100.
Sindelfingen at the European Tour, very warm welcome to you. For those of you who've been with us all day, thank you for continuing to watch us. And if you're tuning in
100.
via the Super Series YouTube channel, do give us a subscribe, because on top of the live coverage that we'll be bringing to you 6 days a week, we have highlights of every single session, plus
134.
bonus content from behind the scenes as well.
We do get one day off on a Sunday. Always make sure it's a bit of a Super Sunday.
100.
And then we want the Monday off.
Yeah.
$100. Johnny require 83.
Treble 17 for double 16. Oh, 18 and tops.
43. Match require 86.
Very interesting. Normally the approach you would see a player, if Matty Dennant was maybe on a really big finish or not on a finish at all. Should be treble 14. The bigger target finds it. Great board management from Matt Dennant, and back-to-back 15 dart legs. And more importantly for him, that one was a breaker throw. The breaker throw he needed to win the match.
6-leg Matt to throw first. Game on.
He's broken Johnny Haynes' throw, but has he broken his resolve? He wins this one, he moves on to 6 points.
45.
And would have played a game less than Johnny Haynes.
21.
He'd then be requiring snookers with the punk. Talking about snookers, our referee Danny McNamara is a handy snooker player himself.
Wow. Didn't know that.
140.
And he can call a 180 well as well.
Absolute class from Dennant this. Putting down
60.
a bit of a marker.
136.
Averaging 98.5, looking to finish with a ton plus checkout. He's going to get 6 to get the job done.
60.
Should come back worst case scenario for a double on upon his next visit. Johnny Haynes missed 5 darts in the final leg to beat Niall Cullerton in game 1. It looks as if it's going to be 0-2, the record for the day now. Matt Dennant has tots of the match,
56.
but that drags way below. Looks as if he split it.
I know it's been such a dominant scoring leg.
100.
He gets 3 more.
Match require 20.
Get the job done.
Game shot.
Job
And the
done
match,
for Matt Dennant, and he
Dennant.
condemns Johnny Haynes to a second defeat in succession. The man who many tipped would get through to finals night may find his position in the finale in some peril. As for Matt Dennant, well, a really impressive opening performance from him. A 95.58 average, 3 maximums, 4 out of 7 on the doubles. He's kind of kicking off in the vein that he left off last night. Next up, Stuart White, Niall Cullerton.
So Stuart White is edging closer to qualifying for finals night on debut here at the Super Series. A win here and he will join Duff, Whitehead and Roos tomorrow night, looking to back up his opening performance of the night where he averaged north of 93 in down in Andy Jenkins. He's taken on Niall Cullerton, who can join the ADC qualifier on 8 points if he can pick up the points. Let's return to Chris and Henry to guide you through match 4.
Thanks, Abby. And Niall will be boosted after that 4-3 win against Johnny Haynes. And remember, Johnny Haynes had 6 match starts in that match. But Niall found a way to win. Maybe it's his night and he is going to qualify. Well, a win here and he will, well, depending on the size of the win, could go top of the table. A defeat, and as Abby said, Stuart White will be confirmed as our 4th player of 6 into tomorrow night.
And that is because Stuart White would move on to 10 points. Johnny Haynes in 4th place has played a game more than both Stuart and Niall. He's played a game more than the rest of the field. And on 4 points, the maximum he can get to now is 8. Jenkins, of course, on 2 points himself. That'll be the maximum he can get from his allotted other matches. So Stuart White on debut in this competition, our ADC qualifier this week, finds himself on the brink of qualification for a first finals night and joining an illustrious list of players. Players who have all so far won big titles in front of the cameras. Neil Duff, the Lakeside WDF World Champion in the men's division. Conan Whitehead, former champion here. Bradley Rose winning the boys world title at the WDF Lakeside Championship last year. Proven winners are already there. Stuart White could add his name on debut.
140.
Back to back on the 40s for Niall Cullerton at the start of the match.
80. 83. 58. Nadia War 138.
Now first to finish 138 after 9 for the break of throw.
Oh, 118. Georgia War 148.
Double 10 after 12. Oh, here we go. Tops.
Game shot on the first.
He's
leg,
only gone and
Stuart
done it
White.
again, Stuart White. He's just the king of the big finishes. Add the 148 to the 142 and the 154 in the collection.
Well, his throw was under threat. A very impressive leg from
100.
Niall Cullerton. After double after 12 and didn't get a go.
86.
I'm going to say it now. Stuart White is doing the sort of things that weekly winners do. And that is, in those sorts of opportunities, in those sorts of moments, he draws on something. He finds something. And he tries to take the game away from the opponent as a consequence of it.
He's just rock solid, isn't he?
41.
And I think moving into this Group B has been the best thing that's happened to him all week, because there was a very nervy Group A this week. There was a lot of debutants in the competition.
60.
And I think that fed through as a bit of an energy on everyone. But this Group B, quality players all across the field. And I think he has really settled in that environment. I think what we're looking at with Stuart, he's very a reactive player to the environment that he's playing in.
Great observation. And he's proven that time and time again.
100.
Well, Cullerton continues to find the lipstick. 3 tons and a solitary 60 in the leg.
134.
You know what got to do, Niall, is just don't give him a go at anything.
If in doubt, take it out.
83.
This is so typically Stuart White. This is bonkers timing.
58.
Word of advice, Niall. Take it out.
He's miscounted.
No score.
And that's pressure.
Sure to require.
It can scramble the brain, and I can assure you, if that 180 wouldn't have gone in, I don't think he would have made that mistake. Will it be punished?
People say there's no such thing as scoreboard pressure, but there is. But the pressure on Stuart White has also surmounted to him.
Now you require 58.
It's been quite a nervy passage of play, but it could be quite an important one. Definitely tops. Well, he's already found it once in this leg, but he can't find it a second time.
Sure to require 32.
Double 16.
Games on the
2-0.
leg, Stuart White.
Well, I've got a nickname for him. The Punisher.
Sean McDonald has called and he wants the nickname back.
Fairlake Stewart to throw first. Game on.
Just that type of player, isn't he?
We're up in Scotland, they'd call him Granite.
134.
The grinder.
$100.
He's one of those players that you'll look at a draw sheet and you see yourself up against him and you're thinking, oh no, because you know exactly what you're going to get from him.
43.
You're going to get a really good level of performance. You know that if you give him opportunities at the double, he's going to go and take it. He's just one of those players that is just so awkward to beat. And that is a huge compliment to Stuart.
Well, now Cullerton is
134.
outscoring him, but being outfinished. Both players have had 3 darts at a double. The big difference, Stuart White, is it 2 of them? Maybe Cully needs a big finish. And he's got one here.
43.
Although,
Now you require 160.
I was going to say not under that much pressure, but he'll be aware of the prowess on the finishing
100.
from Stuart White.
Would require 100.
White is looking for a whirlwind 147. He's potted the red. He's potted the green. Where's the double 18 going?
White.
Stuart White's at it again. A 147, a 148 in this game to lead 3-0. An acknowledgement from his opponent, Niall Cullerton, who has put himself in good positions in this game, but he cannot leave Stuart White on anything.
60.
Well, he's had 2 scores in the match of 140 plus, and they've both been finishes.
If we ever have a double in, double out week here at the Super Series,
134.
invite Stuart White.
$38.
Well, maybe he's hit the stuffing out of Cullerton.
140.
And it gets to a point where there's only so much of this that can be hit against you before you actually have that stuffing taken out of you.
85.
There's only so much one man can take.
Stuart White averaging 97. 3 out of 4 on the doubles now.
45.
The Banbury Massive can begin to possibly look at booking their tickets for tomorrow night's finals. Or put the dart shot page on hold.
180.
It's just unflappable.
Now you require 138.
82 after 12. Needed the 60 to start the combination. Well, the 82 just should be a piece of cake.
98. Stuart require 82.
Tops.
42.
That was for the chance to
Nadia
progress through to
40.
tomorrow night.
A rare miss at a double.
Games
Ooh.
on the fourth leg, Niall Cullerton.
Cully left it late. Found the target and avoided the whitewash. Maybe that's just a
Fifth leg, Stuart
consolation
to throw first.
as
Game on.
Stuart White has the honour in this leg.
And you'd sense the way Stuart's playing in this game, Niall probably needs 4 visits. And maybe all he's allowed.
100.
Ton to start. Niall himself, as we have a look at the averages now, have been playing well himself. 90.62 his average.
83.
Stuart White 92.42. But the game really hinges on this. The checkouts. 3 from 5, including 2 ton-plus checkouts. But for Niall Cullerton, 1 from
97.
6 when it's come to the outer ring. Because in the scoring phase, here's the power pack. Can't separate them.
Now identical.
100.
It was briefly.
$41.
What a time for a second max to leave them on 138
138.
to continue the comeback charge.
$99.
Good thinking. He's himself on 164. Cullerton 138 and Stuart's on a finish. Take it out, Niall. Because you would not put this past this man. He's already had
98.
2 ton pluses, big ton pluses in this match. And perhaps it would be fitting if he sealed his place in tomorrow night's final with a rip-roaring finish. Should be treble 15 here. He's got 85 left, Stuart White.
94.
For 13 data. And to bring it back to 3-2 and get the first of the breaks that he needs. Double 5.
35.
Came to his aid last time, last dart in hand, but not this time.
70.
Should get at least 1 dart, and it'll be 18 tops. Another match dart at the same double.
50. Now you require 5.
And so Cullerton comes back. Double 2
Game
for 3-2, and he gets the break. He needs to break Stuart White twice to win this game. He's got the first of them there.
6 leg Niall
2 darts at a double. 1 in leg 4 for 4-0. 1 in leg 5 for 4-1. And we did, of course, see in his qualification for here that
45.
Stuart White does have some levels to his game. Had a 99 average in one particular match en route. Had another in the 90s as well.
$140.
When the first dart hits there, usually it's been so inviting for him.
120.
Just lost the line slightly with dart 2, but corrected it well in the final dart of the visit.
60.
Treblers visits open the door now for Stuart against the darts to get it done 4-2. Would love another one.
Oh,
Finds another one.
34.
He's going to be first to finish in, well, it's just Stuart White range, isn't it? 140s. So 144 this time.
85.
The one
Stuart
thing he's
144.
done all week, never panicked. I've never seen too much negativity from him. Just gets on with the job in hand. Tried to
58.
pick off the 54. Going to be under pressure, the 86.
But how much pressure?
97.
Enough.
George require 86.
Well, he's had 2 darts at tops that I mentioned. May get 1 at the ball here. Oh, well, now he needs a treble. 74 remaining, 42 for 32. I wouldn't have blamed him to stay on the 18s there because he had a bit of a guide. He'd have had the weight of throw, having already thrown at the treble 18.
62. Nadia requires 74.
To send us to the distance. 1 dart at tops for Niall Cullerton. Just the other
36.
side.
Oh, it's in double one, literally.
Georgia require 24.
Just to the right of the upright that separates the 2 doubles. And this time, Stuart White
shot.
finds the
And
double,
match,
gets
Stuart
over the
White.
line, 4-2 with an average of 90.18, 87.77 for Cullerton in defeat. Oh, the highlight in there, there's 2 magnificent finishes, 147 and 148 in leg 2. And Stuart White is safely through to tomorrow night's final. When we come back, another player looking to qualify. Matty Dennant faces Andy Jenkins.
We have our first player through 2 finals night from Group B. Stuart White on debut has found some inspired performances and some big finishes at key moments to extend his stay here at the Super Series. Next up, Matty Denon, who at the moment is looking good to join him. He takes on Jenks, who may have left himself too much to do this week. To see then whether Denon can move on to 8 points, let's get back to the chaps in comms.
Thank you very much, Abby. And yeah, win for Matt Dennett would mean that he puts himself in a perfect position to go through. His next game after this is against Niall Cullerton as well. As for Andy Jenkins, well, he's pretty much on his last life now as far as this group is concerned. Wins this, he moves within 2 points of a couple of games to go, but defeat here, and
game on.
That's pretty much that.
Yep.
$74.
This was
60.
Jenks's only win of the night last night. Very, very similar performance from both. 3 out of 7 on the doubles for Matty, a couple of 180s, 4 out of 8 on the
96.
doubles for Jenks, a high finish of 130. The average is 88.25 Jenks, 88.57 Matty Denon.
99.
Lowest average of the night, wasn't it?
In the whole group, every game he's played, he's had one average below 88.
55.
Andy Jenkins, and he's bottom of the pile.
Wow. With just 1 win.
Make it make sense.
45. $60.
Look at Matty. He's had averages of 90.14, 93.94, 88.57, 97.89, and 95.58.
95.
Very, very strong stuff.
$96. Match require 121.
So 1-2-1 for Denon to get on the board. Treble 17. But left himself a dart of the bull.
53. Andy require 120.
It's ladder time for Jenkins. To the top of the ladder. Climbing all the way. And climbing into a 1-0 lead.
More importantly for him is the break of throw.
Second leg Andy to throw first. Game on.
Can he build on it? Ball hard
57.
against Stuart White in his opening match of the night. Averaged 89.06 in defeat.
$100.
And to compare it to the other groups we saw, he would have, with those sorts of numbers consistently, he would have won probably every other group. You could maybe even make the argument for Group C, because there was a couple of games, even though the intensity wasn't there towards the end, but there was a couple of games where Conan Whitehead did get away with a couple as well.
They've certainly been in the mix with this level of play in Group A.
44.
Conan's bringing his army of fans down. You can join us tomorrow night, but every week here at the MODUS Super Series. Tickets available for every single Saturday night up until the 5th of August. That's our Series 4 Champions Week here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. So if you fancy a summer of darts down on the sunny south coast, then why don't you pick your week? Got some big names coming up over the next few weeks. That'll all be announced in due course. So if you want to see some legends of the game and maybe some new stars begin to emerge, as well as a very good night out, it's a £2 booking fee,
107.
free drinks for a tenner, and some top-class sport. And maybe you'll be able to see some top-class finishing.
75. Andy require 109.
Well, he will tomorrow night because Stuart White's playing.
Deft taxes and big finishes when it comes to Stuart White.
Yeah, if you can
84.
find a night potentially out for £12 with some top-class live sport, let us know.
Second leg, Matt Denon.
Right, good response from Denon. 16 dart break back. That is exactly what Jenks didn't
Third
want
leg,
to
Matt
happen.
to throw first. Game on.
Did the hard work in leg one.
Well, he's effectively undone it.
59. 99.
Although, just to settle your argument, I probably can find a night out that costs £12, but that's usually for other reasons,
99.
such as not coping.
$26.
26 the hard way. Small.
100.
Fine margins.
$96. 60.
I was going to say, one of Matt Dennant's best MOs is he, at the very worst, leaves a finish after 4 visits. They're able to on this occasion.
140.
Jenkins is.
All about the approach play here for Matty.
100. And you require 140.
He's had a 120. He may well add a 140. He went tops.
100. Match require
Surprised.
83.
As that looked a fine dart, an inviting dart.
67. And you require 40.
Chance for another break and to lead again.
Games on the third leg.
Andy
Andy
takes
Jenkins.
advantage. 16 dart break back.
Fourth leg, Andy.
2 on it is to
throw
Jenkins,
first.
taking advantage
Game
on those missed darts from Matt Dennant, who has a little bit of a look up to the skies, has a little bit of a talking to himself.
44.
And again, after the break, the very next visit, a poor start to the leg, offering up the break back.
140.
Dennant punishes of the match.
100. Match require 145.
And what timing, because it gives him 6 against the Jenkins darts. This is becoming a bit of a breakathlon here.
59.
On course for a 4th consecutive breaker throw. Oh. And he has the opportunity to
99.
pressure the
Match require
86.
86.
Should get a dart at the ball. We'll get 2 at 32. Great guide. Uses it.
On the fourth leg, Matt Dennant.
15 dart breaker throw, best leg of the match.
There's currently been more breaks than the skateboarder's arm in this
Fifth leg,
game.
Matt to throw first.
4 legs
Game on.
played, all gone against the throw, and Andy Jenkins probably wondering why as much as the rest of us.
140.
You know what he's feeling and how he's feeling at most times, Andy Jenkins.
140.
Heart on sleeve.
57.
But one of the game's great characters has been for a number of years.
77.
Remember the first time you ever played, Andy?
Yeah, and I didn't know that we actually
96.
played. It was back in 1995. It was a ranking event, the Welsh Classic. I beat him in the final. Can't ever remember it happening.
35.
I'll put that down to it being so long ago.
I heard the chalets of that venue hasn't changed since then
60.
either.
And you require 149.
Also played him in the Worlds at the Tavern.
Andy Jenkins semi-finalist at the last ever World Championships to be held at the Circus
40.
Tavern back in 2007. Lost out to Raymond van Barneveld by 6 sets to 0, shall I say. Getting too used to leg play, ain't I? Well, we've already seen one of these today. Double 14 for another 148.
31. And you require
Rush of blood.
109. $57. Match requires 17.
Or our first to hold of throw. Gets the 1.
9.
Oh, an
And you
opportunity.
require
This is
52.
for Andy Jenkins. Double 16.
20. Match
will
require 8.
Enrage him.
That could be the straw that breaks Rocky's back. It's must-win territory for him.
Game shot
And he
the fifth
now
leg,
has to win both of the remaining legs. You feel to realistically remain in the race.
Gets last started. That hurts
Six leg
even
Andy
more.
to throw first. Game on. $78.
Such a big opportunity, that leg. He would have been leading 3-2 and throwing for the match.
78.
His destiny would have been in his hands.
Well, here's one for you. Matt Denon at the minute is averaging 82.38. It's his worst performance of the week so far.
Well, it's both there in terms of performance levels.
190.
A low.
140.
I think they're trying to prove us wrong.
$59. $137.
Even himself on 86 after trial, meaning Dennett needs to find something seismic to apply pressure.
Another treble will do just that.
140. And you require 86.
Just knew that was going to happen. And so it's going to be one dart at the bullseye to save it for Jenkins.
56.
And that might well be
That you require 44.
his chances coming and going, not just in this game, but in terms of qualification for tomorrow night, because Matt Dennett returns with 2 darts in his hand at double 16 to get the job done. Double 8 now
Game,
to seal
shot,
the win,
match,
and that may well be the
Matt
one that KOs Jenkins in the end. Matt Dennett, a 4-2 victor, which moves him on to 8 points and moves him ever so closer towards qualification for tomorrow night's final. He gets the better of Rocky by 4 legs to 2. We've reached the halfway point of our night. Johnny Haynes and Stuart Wright to come after we get some analysis on the balcony with Abigail Davis and Chris Mason after this short break.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where Matty Dennant has just claimed a 4-2 victory to put himself in pole position to qualify via Group B for finals night. Chris Mason alongside me. It's been really impressive, but Stuart White, we have to start there because it has been absolutely immense from him tonight. He hasn't faltered at all as he's approached the finishing line. Yeah,
he's been pretty flawless. The impressive rise in his standard since Group A. We've seen flashes in Group A, but the way he's performed in Group B, which has been a really tough group, he's answered plenty of questions that we had about him.
And I can't imagine him having too many problems. We question when players are here on debut about how they'll manage to adapt on finals night. I can't imagine him deviating away from this level too much.
No, very, very cool customer. Experience as well from qualifying via the Rileys and when he was a tour card holder playing in the UK Open. So he's played in front of a crowd. He just looks settled up there. He punishes any mistakes. He looks as cool as a cucumber. Nothing seems to rattle him. And when he does fluff his lines and make a few mistakes, he bounces straight back.
Yeah, and he's up next against Johnny Haynes, a really important one for Haynes to win. We were just talking about it off air. This could be the perfect time to play White. We often say it. It was the case, of course, with Conan Whitehead earlier. He said that he struggled to get up for the games in the same way once he knew that there was no pressure on him. Do you think that'll be the same for White?
I'm not so sure. I don't think he's that type of character. Maybe he is. Well, we're about to find out. But for me, he just doesn't seem the kind of guy that will take his foot off the gas. And the way he throws, I think if he plays with that relaxed nature, he may even go up another level. Yeah, and when we have a look at the table there, just to put you in the picture, if Stuart White is able to get over the line against Haynes and then Cullerton gets over the line and beats Dennant, this could all be sorted with 3 games to go. Do you think there'll be the 3 to qualify, or are you still giving Haynes a chance? Well, it's all down to this match, isn't it? Haynes must win here, or, well, you've just explained the permutations. Yeah, absolutely. Right then, let's get into this one. It is a huge game in the context of the league stand-ins. Henry Deacon, back over to you.
Thank you very much, Abby. It's a big game with big consequences riding upon it. Stuart White already knows his fate as far as tomorrow evening is concerned. He is there. He can look forward to what will be one of the biggest darting nights of his career. And I'm sure that the Banbury Massive will be making their way down to the South Coast to support him in his draws. If Johnny Haynes is going to bring his Swindon lot down to the Super Series tomorrow night, well, the equation is quite simple. Win both games and then hope everything squares up. That's probably the simplest way to describe it from his perspective. And it's a little bit of a surprise that he's in this position, because if you look at the performances tonight, averaged 89.5 against Niall Cullerton, missed 6 match darts to get over the line in that game, including 5 in the final leg, and then an 88.13 average in that defeat to Matt Dennant, who was also impressive. Well, that's just typically Matt Dennant, isn't
first
it?
Leg, Johnny
but
to throw first.
What we're going to see in this one. Chris Mason has made the trip down from the balcony to the commentary box in. Good time to watch this. Danny McNamara is our referee for the remainder of the evening action.
135.
Must win game for Johnny Haynes.
140.
And I discussed it just off air with Abby. It's not the kind of player who must be absolutely full of confidence right now. You want to be playing in a must-win game situation, very much like Matty Dennant against Andy Jenkins in the last one.
140.
You would think Johnny's going to get opportunities. I don't think he's going to be massively outscored in this one.
140.
Which is happening here.
100. George O'Hare, 105.
This would be a small ton plus checkout for Stuart White.
45. Johnny O'Hare, 76.
Treble 20. Tops. Pins
Game
it.
shot of the first leg, Johnny
Just
Haynes.
what he needed.
Do with a big performance here, Johnny Haynes. Not just a
Second leg,
victory
Stuart
is
to
important for him, but the
Fritz. Game on.
margin of it on -3 in terms of legs difference. He's actually better off in that particular column than Niall Cullerton.
137.
He finds himself on -4.
Priority number 1 is
85.
just to get the win. He will have one more match to play after this one, and that is against Andy
100.
Jenkins. I'm sure no doubt is left frustrated. His performance levels shouldn't really represent
100.
just the one win. It's been a cruel time for him the last couple of evenings. He will bounce back.
He's always back, is Andy
41.
Jenkins.
So the maximum points available to Johnny
60.
Haynes is 8. Currently on 4 with 2 more to play. Well, all the players have 2 more to play.
134.
Andy Jenkins, of course, does have still an outside chance of qualification, but he could actually play a role of
60.
spoiler if he
Stuart
doesn't,
White,
because his last 2
89.
games is against Johnny Haynes and Niall Cullerton, respectively. Stuart White, 89 to level proceedings up at 1 apiece, and he's got 6 from here.
Yeah, you'd have to rely on Dennant beating Cully
76.
and then Andy beating Cully himself. It's not mathematically
92.
impossible, but
Sure to require 13.
we feel it's unlikely.
5 for double 4 to level up at 1 apiece.
9.
Doesn't pin the 102.
Johnny require 1.
And so Haynes here, 104 to break the throw and open up a 2-0 lead.
Oh, disastrous start.
He was better off having a bounce out.
Yeah.
At least then gone 54 ball.
Stuart to require 4. Game on the second leg, Stuart White.
Stuart White leveling us up 1 apiece, 19 dart leg there.
Third leg, Johnny to
91.16.
Game on.
He's not deviating, is he? Whatsoever.
If he maintains this level,
55.
tomorrow night, someone's going to have to find a big performance to knock him out of his stride.
Now, if you like to have a look at the markets and think about a possible each way outsider in the market,
58.
maybe when the sports book opens for tomorrow night, have a look and see where Stuart White is priced. Because possibly, we're not saying he's going to go on and win the finals tomorrow night,
100.
but if you want to have a look at someone outside who the bookmakers will perceive as the favourites, he could well be someone that could harbour some value in the each way market if he carries on playing to the level he's playing at tonight.
60.
We've seen plenty of players win weeks playing like Stuart White has
100.
been the last couple of days. Whatever happens tomorrow, I hope we get to see him back here in Series 5.
60.
The evidence of what we've seen so far, I'm sure he will be. As an invite.
97.
You know how much I like ideas, mate. Maybe 1 week, have all those players that come in as ADC players and are really impressed. Maybe put them all together in 1 week and we can have a real look at how they've progressed through since their first appearance.
149.
Like it?
Collaboration week.
Super dark, that.
101. $43. Johnny require 48. $28.
He's a good finisher, but he can't take out 180. He can hit them.
But don't hit it.
100. Johnny require 20. Game on the third
Bang
leg,
in
Johnny
the middle.
Haynes.
So Johnny Haynes halfway towards the victory post in what is a must-win game for him. The whole of the practice room pretty much is hoping for a Stuart White victory because that's in everybody's best interest, including Matt Dennant, who can secure the job from his end if he gets the better of Niall Cullerton in the next one. As a matter of fact, if Stuart White wins this game, Johnny Haynes obviously can't catch Matt Dennant on 8 points, so he would actually send Dennant through. He wouldn't even have to go out and bat for himself. And then if Cullerton wins that one, it's game over with 3 to go.
78.
We know Matty Dennant will be cheering on Stuart White.
121.
I was in this meeting yesterday that Stuart White went absolutely berserk. That was the 4 out of 4. That was the 142 and 154 performance yesterday. That was when Johnny Haynes averaged 94.67. He was 50% on the doubles himself, and it just meant absolutely nothing in the end equation. The players that miss out in this group, the 2 players that miss out in this group, can have a feeling of being hard done by because there's not been one poor performer whatsoever.
Johnny Haynes on the verge here of breaking throw.
Johnny require 140.
And then having the honour to try and win it 4-1. Just a ton here will do very nicely.
100.
Tops after 12. Would you say there's a bit of intensity taken out of the
41.
Stuart White game?
Johnny require 40.
Maybe just relaxed a little, knowing that his job is done.
Yeah, I don't think it's by design as Johnny Haynes makes it 3-1. I don't think it's something intentional, but it's just a natural reaction, isn't it? When it's a bit like the whole fight or flight mechanism. Once that's not in play, it's hard to naturally
generate that emotion and focus. We've seen it, of course, with Conan today. Once it was done and dusted, he was just coasting and cruising. And the intensity is gone. And some players really need that intensity to perform.
Well, let me put this scenario to you. If I said to you, I had a tennis ball here, and I say, catch the ball. You say, okay, I'll catch the ball. But say, catch this tennis ball, and I'll give you £1 million. I could tell you now, your mentality towards catching that tennis ball is going to change severely.
Yeah, not half.
45.
Because what I'm trying to say is just naturally catching a tennis ball, well, that's something you can actually do. But when you have £1 million on the tennis ball...
That is the worst analogy I've ever heard in my life. You can tell you've never been a dart player or a sportsman.
$57.
Shall I go home?
$90.
So I take you don't want the tennis ball for £1 million.
No, I'm good. Give it to somebody who needs it.
$80.
Johnny Haynes, 94 points away from a 4-1 win.
59.
And to move in to the final qualification position. There's the 54. Double 10.
74.
Not it's going to matter now because he's going to come back. In terms of his legs difference, it would put him onto 0. Cullerton's on -4, and that could be oh so important in the final equations here.
28. Johnny requires.
It's another impressive performance from Haynes. It's an 87.32 average. Splits. And hits the double 4 to claim a 4-1 success over Stuart White. And it's another really good display from Johnny Haynes, who keeps himself in that race for qualification for tomorrow night's finals, beating Stuart White by 4 legs to 1. 85 average, 4 from 11 when it came to the doubles. He's still in the race, is Johnny Haynes. And up after the break, a potentially crucial battle as Matt Dennant takes on Niall Cullerton.
Matt Dennant and Niall Cullerton in action next. Dennant will mathematically confirm his place at finals night with a win here. Cullerton will move back above Haynes and into third if he picks up the points. Dennant was the 4-0 winner when the two met yesterday with a 94 average. To guide you through all the ebbs and flows in this one, let's get back to Henry Deacon and Chris Mason.
Thank you very much, Abby. So Game 7 has huge repercussions as far as this group is concerned. Well, Matt Dennant's got the simplest task of anyone. He just knows that he can control his fate in his next 2 games, and then he can just allow whatever carnage possibly happens below happen.
Yeah, I think 1 win in either, and he should be, well, he will be, safe.
And if Matt Dennant wins, say hello to Andy Jenkins.
Well, yeah, because then if
Game on.
Andy Jenkins defeats Johnny Haynes and Niall Cullerton, he will go through.
100.
And if Jenks goes through, expect this place to be loud,
45.
proud and boisterous on the South Coast. His hometown tournament.
King of Cosham.
57.
And they do not call him that for nothing, I can assure you of that.
$100.
Rocky beyond the Oki tomorrow night. In front of a crowd. Now, you could be a part of the crowd every single Saturday at the Super
99.
Series. Just scan that QR code. It'll send you over to dartshop.tv. And once you're there, you can get tickets to every single week up until Champions Week on the 5th of August.
125.
And on top of that, if you fancy a night out, whether it be at the Circus Tavern at the World Seniors next year or any of the blockbuster Modus sports exhibitions, you can also
60.
find tickets to that from there.
Yeah, on the World Seniors Masters, which is on the 24th and 25th of June at the Westlands Entertainment
60.
Centre in Yeovil. Wonderful package deals available for that.
65.
I'm just having a look at the calculations. Due to the
57.
legs that Matt's
That's
accrued,
over
3 legs is going to be enough
120.
for him to go through. So he doesn't necessarily need the win here, although he would love to get the 2 points. As he looks at the Shanghai, he looks to climb the ladder,
100.
but he can't put him high.
Now you require 100.
Well, he won this tie with a 93-94 average last night, full zip.
58.
Is he about
Now you
to make
require
it?
20.
5 from 5 against Cully. On double 5. Oh dear.
No score. Now you require 56.
Just opened up the door now for Cullerton. I was going to say 2 at tots, but he's found the 32, so it's going to be 2 in his hand at double 12.
Game shown on the first leg, Niall Cullerton.
Use the guide dart. Certainly the weight of throw.
Second leg, Niall to throw first. Game on.
No, who narrowly missed out on Champions Week in Series 2.
100.
Lost out in a superb final to John Henderson. That was the final week of qualification. And narrowly missed out on a reserve spot by a real smidgen in terms of the
100.
weekly averages. We were in that week, wasn't it? That phase where we had players moving over to tour cards and things like that. So we had a couple of spare spots. And pretty much there were 2 players in that
55.
finals night field who were teetering on the brink or would have got through to Champions Week. Martin Adams had to wait patiently for his chance.
78.
And we've seen reserve players at Champions Week do very well. Jacob Taylor, of course, never won his week. He came in as a replacement for Lucas Venig, who elected to play the Challenge Tour that weekend and nearly picked up the jackpot,
45.
Jacob Taylor.
Yeah, I think that was a huge mistake from Lucas Venig's management team to
60.
opt to play on those events instead of here. Certainly well in the mix for The winning Champions Week.
100.
And picking up £20,000, I can assure you. Picked up nothing anywhere near that. It was most definitely not a throw. If it was an illegal one because it was underarm.
57.
Referees will, in those scenarios, unless it looks like they're really deliberately doing it, will give benefit of the doubts on things such as that.
85.
It's their discretion, isn't it? Obviously not thrown. It was just that transition from holding hand to throwing hand.
And we're very lucky to speak to a lot of referees obviously doing this
92.
job, and they always say that they'll ref
116.
by discretion, and that just to make sure that things don't become controversial. Only when it's 100% glaringly obvious will they do things like that, as Cullerton pins the 116 for a 2-0 lead against Matt Dennant. He's halfway towards a victory post in what is a big, big game for him. If he wins this, he moves on to 8 points. Level with Matt Dennant. That would eliminate Andy Jenkins from contention, and it would mean that Matt Dennant is suddenly sucked back into things.
85.
The big advantage for Matty Dennant currently is the leg difference. He's on +9, but certainly won't want to get beat 4-0 here.
140.
Matt Dennant's last game is against Stuart White in game 9.
137. 137.
Play this from Cullerton. 2 treble visits in a row. And I just feel like he's trying to draw out as much as he possibly
59.
can now, Cullerton here.
Yeah, he's leaving nothing in reserve. A long week for him, of course.
100.
Another one of the players who was involved in Group A on Monday morning at 9:30 a.m.
Done very well to find the treble from that point. He basically had 2 goal posts in front of that treble bed.
I think we've certainly had in this group is 5 players that just love playing on the stage and under the lights.
24.
They've all responded very well.
120. 56.
He's going to have matches, of course, where players just have an off game. 85 left, treble 15 for tops, treble 19 for double 14. Found the 45. Doesn't
60.
find the tops by, well, the thickness of the wire.
64.
It was a wire bender. One dart at double 16 is not
32.
found. So Cullerton for the double break for the 3-0 lead. Wants tops. Gets tops.
It's getting better. Started with a 21 dart breaker throw, then an 18. That was a 16.
Fourth leg,
Sprinting for the line.
First. Game on.
He doesn't want any dramas. He just wants to get it done. And if he can win 4-0 here, he will drag himself back to 0 in terms of the leg difference. He would move above Johnny Haynes on points, but it would mean that the pair would be level in that particular demographic. He would have clawed back what he's already lost as a disadvantage to Haynes. And that was because Johnny, in his previous match, won 4-1 against Stuart White.
83.
Haynes will play his final game
96.
after this against Andy Jenkins. And so we will know much clearer the picture. Cullerton back to face Jenkins himself in the final game of the evening.
100. 45. $41.
That just giving Dennett a little bit of an opening if he can find a couple of trebles here.
133.
Means he's left the fish after 12.
$58. Metro War 170.
And he's going to get 6 from it to claw 1 back.
105.
Narrowly misses the ball to leave tops.
And this 65 is going to have to go because Cullerton's left himself on 36. Doesn't find the 25. And so it's only going to be 1 dart in his hand, a double 16 to save the game. And he finds it. Accrues the break back on Niall Cullerton. However, the Irishman still has that 3-1 advantage. Dennett with the throw here to reduce the gap to just 1.
Game on. $93.
Good find with the last dart there for Dennett.
$100.
Is he making his mid-match move?
$180.
He's left it late.
$100. $140.
Backs up the max with a 2 treble visit.
Cullerton needs one of them of his own.
121. Metro War 88.
But could have done with the single 20 there, which means it's going to be 6 from 88 for 3-2. This is a possible 11 dart leg. And Matt Denon is going through the gears here. He's pulled it back to 3-2. And suddenly things look a little bit more precarious for Niall Cullerton.
Throw first. Game on.
That's the pressure switched. Or can he just hold?
140.
Time 40 to start. Applying pressure from Denon, or to Denon, right from the get-go.
60.
Maybe force the error.
$140.
Beautiful from Niall Cullerton. Back-to-back 140s when he really, really needs it.
45.
No answer from Denon.
So he's got a couple of visits at least on 2-2-1. Oh, what a leg this is. 3 140s on the bounce to leave himself on 81 after 9. Matt Denon, who in the last leg found an 11. Cullerton could find one of his own to get the game wrapped up here and to move himself onto 8 points level with Matt Denon in terms of the group standings. Doesn't have to attack the bullseye with Denon back on 2-5-6. And so lays it up handily. Tops after 12 to get the game won.
$42.
Matt Denon threatened a mid-match move, but Cullerton has showed his brilliance in this leg. And finds tops for 15 darter to depose of Denon and put himself onto 8 points and puts Johnny Haynes into must-win territory next up against Andy Jenkins. As far as the tail of the tape of this game is concerned, Cullerton a 4-2 victor with an 86.29 average, 4 out of 8 when it came to the doubles, and that 116 high checkout. So the ball now firmly in the court of Johnny Haynes. He's got one more game to play. He is going to finish up against Andy Jenkins after this short break.
Right then, another huge match up next. Andy Jenkins is out of the race for finals night. That's one thing we do now know for certain. It is advantage Matt Dennant and Niall Cullerton in the race to join White in qualifying for finals night. But a win for Haynes here keeps things alive, keeps things interesting for a bit longer. A Jenks win would confirm Dennant and Cullerton go through and eliminate Haynes. What are we predicting, lads?
The honest answer is we don't quite know, because what we've seen from both of these players is some excellent performances, but they haven't always correlated into results. For example, Andy Jenkins, I'm going to run through his averages for yesterday, and you'll begin to wonder how he's only picked up 2 points. 88.12, 90.91, 88.25. The only deviation was a 78.29. He only picked up 2 points. As for tonight, where he's currently winless, kicked off 89.06 and then had an 85.35. He's played well, he's just not got the rub of the green. And Johnny Haynes is doing what pretty much every other opponent this week's done to him.
$24.
Yeah, this one might not be one for the purists.
45.
But it's the dead rubber for Jenks, of course.
99.
After Cullerton defeated Dennant. That ship has sailed.
60.
There is a very influential ship in the water in Portsmouth at the minute.
Yeah, it's the third biggest cruise ship in
80.
the world, isn't it? I do believe.
German one, isn't it? And again, talking about players who haven't quite got out what perhaps they should have in performances. Johnny Haynes tonight, 89.51, missed 6-match starts against Niall Cullerton. Against Matt Dennant, 88.13. That was when Dennant had that 95.5 average.
Johnny require 170.
So don't perceive, because it's a game between two players at the bottom of the table, that we're not going to see something quite
100.
impressive. Of course, Haynes still harbours those hopes, has to win to maintain them. The advantage he has is the legs difference is okay.
Yeah, the cruise ship that docked in Portsmouth.
38.
Actually,
Johnny
the
requires 70.
largest cruise ship, the Mein Schiff 3. That's where I got the third. That's what you get for not reading the news properly. Yeah, it's absolutely enormous.
Might have to inspire a trip to Gunwharf tomorrow.
Game on.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long it's here for, but I was contemplating doing the same. This is how big it is. There was 2,000 passengers on board.
Shall we see if they're available tomorrow night?
100.
And maybe get some flyers out there?
$81.
We know Andy Jenkins isn't going to be there tomorrow night.
It's got 15 bars and lounges on it, 9 restaurants. My goodness.
$100.
Well, Haynes with one task, and that is to pick up the points, and so far he's doing what he needs to do.
He actually
26.
left the dock at 7 o'clock tonight.
Maybe we won't have that trip.
$140.
We knew we could have tried all 9 restaurants. Probably better than half the places I've taken you.
Yeah.
97. Johnny require
Yeah, I don't think you could get on the old Michelin star ratings review team.
60.
You been to the Thai restaurant yet?
No, not yet.
Maybe that'll be a treat for yourself and Mr.
58.
Nicholson next week.
Johnny requires 60.
You do We do approve of a good Thai restaurant.
20.
Could go to
And you require
beautiful Indian on
120.
Sunday down in Port Solent.
100. Johnny, you require 40.
Well, Haynes approve of tops for 2-0.
Game shot.
2-0 he does lead, and in a game he knows he has to win. Well, he's coming up to the task. Okay enough. Randy Jenkins, as we mentioned earlier, the natural adrenaline is now gone. His battles have been and gone.
Yeah, he'll want to be anywhere but on that stage right now.
60.
I think it's more difficult for those all or nothing type players that got to give absolutely everything to a game that matters. It can be so difficult when you know that there's no prizes on the line for yourself, although Andy does know that he is
85.
batting for other players, in particular Niall Cullerton here.
Second max for Johnny Haynes.
60. $140.
Max followed by 140, leaving himself on 121 after 9. And he's going to get plenty of time to open up this 3-0 lead, and it would be with a double break as well for Johnny Haynes.
25 for double 18.
Game shot on the third leg.
Sweet as 12 darter for Johnny Haynes, averaging over 90.
He had one job in this game, and he's doing that job quite handsomely so far. And he has the darts to seal a 4-0 success.
$60.
Now, just to paint the picture in terms of the legs difference scenario, a 4-0 victory for Johnny Haynes would put
60.
him on 8 points plus 4. Matt Dennant is on 8 points plus 7. Niall Cullerton on 8 points minus 2.
81.
The best case scenario for Niall Cullerton in that final game against Andy Jenkins is finishing up on a plus 2 legs. Of course, if he wins that one, he moves on to 10.
$60. $41.
So a win here for Haynes really does put Cullerton in peril just because of that legs difference. It is a knockout game, effectively, that match against Andy Jenkins for him. Next up, Stuart White against Matt Dennant. And it might be quite shortly, unless Jenkins has some kind of riposte and some kind of response.
$134. Andy require 120.
Hail Mary time for Jenkins.
It's awkward. Johnny Haynes back for 66.
60.
And a 4-0 win.
He requires 66.
Here you go, ball. Yeah, 41 left. Tops.
Game shot.
And tops is found for Johnny Haynes to seal a 4-0 success against Andy Jenkins, and to give himself the best possible hope of progressing his way through to tomorrow night's final. So, Johnny Haynes, a 4-0 victor against Andy Jenkins. That puts him on 8 points plus 4 in terms of the legs difference. So what that means then for the next couple of games coming up is that Matt Dennant effectively needs a couple of legs to get the job done from his perspective against Stuart White. For Niall Cullerton, his last game against Andy Jenkins is a knockout one. We'll explain more of the situations after this short break, when we will see Dennant in action up against Stuart White.
So Stuart White and Matt Dennant up next, and because of the leg difference of Cullerton and Haynes, one leg for Dennant in this next match will be enough because he has an advantage in terms of legs won over Johnny Haynes, who he'd be level on +4 with if that scenario happened. Then it'll come down to Cullerton to see what he can do. Any win for him would then knock Haynes out. If Dennant is beaten 4-0 in this one, then he has a nervous wait to see whether Cullerton can win his final match, to see whether he would progress. And Stuart White, well, he can just sit back and enjoy because he knows he is already through to finals night. To see how this one unfolds, let's return to our commentary team.
Thank you very much, Abby. So a couple more games to go. Still a lot to decide in this Group B. Now, Stuart White knows he's going to be in tomorrow night's final, and he can, after this game, prepare for a big night for himself. Matt Dennant's been at finals night so many times before, and needs just a solitary leg to return there.
First leg, Stewart to throw
And he
first.
will certainly be
Game
in the
on.
mix.
$96.
Alvin Abbey mentioned he was in Pro Tour action on Sunday. Lost to Joe Cullen,
96.
6-2, despite averaging just over 103. Tough score.
Although, if there's any saving grace, he has the highest running average for anyone on the Pro
41.
Tour in 2023.
$82.
Suppose it'd be remiss of us to talk about Matt Dennant here at the Super Series and not talk about the fact that, and I'm sure he'd be happy for us to bring this story up, that he nearly scuppered Glenn Durrant's PDC career before it started.
You have multiple darts to put Durrant away at Q School.
95.
One of those great darting what-if moments. Hello, Duz, if you are watching in from
38.
Sindelfingen.
$82. George Require 146.
Both on 146.
$41. Match require 146.
Well, Stuart doesn't make much of an indent on it. What can Dennant do? Remember, needing just the one leg to qualify.
58. George require 105.
105 for White. And 25 first.
Tops.
65. Match require 88.
Well, Matty for the break and a place in tomorrow night's
Angel
finals.
the
And
first leg,
what a way to do it
Matt
with an 88 on the ball.
And now he can relax.
Well, now
Second
we
leg,
have
Matt to throw
5
first.
of our
Game on.
6 players confirmed.
Now we have that nervous wait for Johnny Haynes when he takes on, well, when Noel
93.
Cullerton takes on Andy Jenkins in the final match.
Neil Duff, Conan Whitehead, Bradley Roos, Stuart White, and Matt Dennant,
95.
all confirmed.
Feels like a week where the cream really has risen to the top.
41.
And quite possibly the best night of the week could be Saturday night.
And if it's
60.
going to be as good as the vast majority of this Group B, we're in for a cracker.
Hopefully see a few of them tomorrow.
180.
Goes without saying.
You'd expect Neil Duff to raise a level compared to what we saw Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I think the environment tomorrow night will help him
100.
do that. We saw Conan for large sways of his Group C campaign played some excellent stuff. And, well, this has been a vintage Group B, it has to be said here.
129.
In the live lounge in Portsmouth, Dennant sets himself up on 58 after 12. And Stuart White, well, we've said this has been a little bit of a trend for him. It began yesterday where he kicked off the night very well, and then
97.
both of his
Measure
final
wide,
averages were
58.
79s. Kicked off tonight impressively and is tailed off towards the latter end of the session. Dennant wants tops for
18.
2-0. Doesn't happen.
Georgia
And so can Stuart find another one of his
149.
blockbuster 140 plus finishes.
Well, for him, it's a little bit of a shorter night, which may play into his hands. And like I've said many times, he wouldn't have played this amount of
81.
darts
Measure wide,
at any
40.
stage of his career so far, especially under this
Games
amount
on
of
the second
pressure.
leg, Matt Dennant.
And he may just be feeling it towards the back end of the night.
Third leg, Stuart to
And the way that
throw
finals
first.
night works out as
Game
well,
on.
of course, it will help him because you're going to get a little bit of a break between matches. The way that the scheduling works out, we'll have that game off. You'll have a little bit of a break if you get through the two group games into the
140.
semi-finals, and then likewise to the finals. Usually a little bit of a buffer because of the timing. Oh wow,
20.
2 out for the price of 1. The only saving grace was they were both misfires into the 5 segment.
125. $95. $24.
Well, against the darts,
84.
Matt Dillon, after that, he's effectively 2 visits behind in this leg.
$100. $59.
So 6 on 112 for Stuart White to
112.
half the deficit to 2-1. $57.
84.
He's himself on double 14 when he returns. Dennant can only apply pressure from this particular position. And apply pressure he will.
34. Georgia War 28.
Double 14. For 2-1.
Hinge on the third leg, Stuart White.
Tidy enough leg there for Stuart White. 16 darter. Only the hold though. Matty still has that advantage of the breaker throw that he got
Fourth leg,
in
Matt to throw first.
the opening leg
Game on.
of this match.
$60.
Players, of course, now fully aware that their work is done. You just go through the motions a little bit.
134.
No, I won't bring up the tennis ball analogy again.
Thanks.
55. $121.
Good recovery of the last 2 darts there, Stuart White.
96.
I know that our final game of Group B after this is effectively now a knockout match
46.
for Niall Cullerton against Andy Jenkins. Win and he's in. Defeat and it will be Johnny Haynes who will join Matt Dillon and Stuart White in tomorrow night's finale from Group B.
140.
Chance here for White to get back in this match. Needs at least one treble.
60. Metro Car 150.
Another. For double 15. Full
Game
blockbuster
from the
finish from
forehand,
Matt Tennant.
Tennant.
3-1 he leads. And 150. And a nice sign of appreciation there as well from Stuart White.
Fifth leg,
Doing
Stuart to throw
A
first.
white against white.
Game on.
And of course,
140.
both players are through, but a win for Tennant would mean he'd be the group winner, which would mean that he'd be allocated in a
59.
better positioning for tomorrow night. Would mean that,
He will have the throw.
so if
130.
Matt wins, he'd then be placed into Group 2 alongside the third place player in this group and Conan Whitehead, the winner of Group C. Now, the runner-up of this group will then be placed with the first place player in Group A, that was Neil Dove, and the second place player in Group C, that's
43.
Bradley Roos.
$162.
Oh, he's just had a 150. Can he back it up with a 140?
57. Match require 140.
Well, he's already had a 150. He's not going to add the 140 to his repertoire.
100. George require 100.
Going to leave tops out to 12. But could it be a 1-2-7 and game? And game?
102. Match require 40.
Maybe not.
To win the group.
Game.
Win the
shot,
group, he
and
does.
Matt Tennant.
Tennant, identical in terms of legs difference and points accumulated. 10 points for Tennant, plus 10 in the legs difference, an average in excess of 90. 90.991, 180, 50% on the doubles, and the highlight finish, the 150. Well, our final match of Group B up next. Noel Cullerton has to beat Andy Jenkins.
So then it all comes down to this to determine who will complete the lineup for finals night. Cullerton has to win, and it would be a win that would see him finish second in Group B. Legs difference is irrelevant for him because he's inferior when it comes to that particular metric to Johnny Haynes, who will be nervously waiting backstage. He'll be team Andy Jenkins in this one for sure. So can Cullerton get to 10 points to progress and join Neil Duff, Conan Whitehead, Bradley Roos, Stuart White and Matty Dennant? Mason H, over to you to talk us through the action.
Thank you very much, Abby. And so there's two players on the stage, but perhaps the most nervous person surrounding this game is not on the hockey. That's Johnny Haynes, who is sitting back and nervously awaiting his fate. His fate is in the hands of Andy Jenkins, the 52-year-old from Cosham, the former World Championship semi-finalist. He needs him to win to harbour any chances of going through. Niall Cullerton, victory, and he goes through. He can either finish fourth or second, Niall Cullerton. It is as simple as that.
Yeah, we certainly didn't expect the scenario where
60.
Stuart White would qualify in third position. But that's what will happen
30.
if Cully does the business here.
100.
Andy. Well, I think we can all see, not particularly impressed with
84.
how things have gone for him. Thrown some good stuff. He'll be back in action in a couple of weeks' time at the
100.
World Seniors Open Series in Newbury. 10th and 11th of June, Saturday and Sunday.
44.
The old boys back on tour.
76.
Sure, some old memories will be reminisced.
Yeah, they always are. They're great fun. If you are 50
82.
and over, get involved. Anybody can play.
There's another 27.5 years before I'm eligible.
125. 55.
Talks of Cullerton for the first leg, and he's going to get the luxury of time here as well. Jenkins hasn't really got out the starter's gate in this first leg.
Game shot of the first leg. No.
He had all the time he needed, and 17 darts was all he needed to open up a 1-0 lead against Jenkins.
Second leg, Andy to throw first. Game on. $99.
Just a reminder about our arrangements for tomorrow night, for finals night here at the Super Series. 7:30 we begin on the Super Series YouTube
60.
channel. We'll have all the pool stage action there. So 6 games in that before we go live on Sporty Stuff TV from 10 o'clock. And from there, we're going to show you the semi-finals and the finals. Same format as the whole of the week. Best of 7 legs. 2 pool matches apiece for our players. The top 2 from each group of 3 go through to the semi-finals. Straight knockout from there. The group winners will have the advantage of throwing the semi-finals. Straight bull up in the final to see who wins the $5,000 and that place at Champions Week. Joining Reese Robinson and Danny Lauby in our Series 4 Champions Week Club.
$82. $120.
Better like this from Andy Jenkins.
$78.
Squares things off, needs a ton. Switch over to the 18s
60.
now. Opts to stay
And
there.
you require 100.
Tops, maybe. Well, that was the intended choice, but he
60.
couldn't find it. Leaves it if he
Now your
returns, if
bar,
Cullerton cannot
94.
take out the 94.
May go double 18. That's what he went for. Just missing on the outside. 76 left, treble 20.
23. And your
A little bit of a mess of
40.
that. Jenkins comes back for Tops.
Game's on the
Tops
second
are
leg,
1-1.
Andy Jenkins.
Gonna put Cullerton through the ringer here.
Third leg,
Remember,
Niall to throw
Niall
first.
has to win,
Game on.
or Johnny Haynes will be the beneficiary.
$43.
If you're Johnny Haynes, what would you be doing right now? Would you be watching, or would you just go back to your hotel room and just see what happens?
Well, I can tell you what he's doing. He's watching next door in the players' area.
140.
Big TV in there and a monitor with the
96.
table on, so the players are fully aware of what the variables and permutations are.
Luckily for us, the sound is turned off on that monitor.
125.
Last thing we'd want is players shouting around the corridor.
$100. $47.
He's overcomplicated things there. Now Cullerton.
50. Nollier War 146.
146. I'll be done this time. So Jenkins is going to come back from 160. Finish we saw from
90.
Trina Gulliver a little bit early
Nollier
on
War
today.
160.
We're not going to see it from Jenkins. So Cullerton comes back for 2-1 to put him halfway towards tomorrow night's
60.
final.
Nollier War 48.
Tops.
Game
2-1 Cullerton.
leg,
17
Niall
dart
Cullerton.
leg. He's halfway there. Halfway towards tomorrow night's final. And potentially the
Fourth leg, Andy to
opportunity
throw first. Game on.
to might a little bit of a darting run from 2023. Missing out in the final to John Henderson in Series 2.
58.
He'd love to go one step better. And it would mean as well, in the first 3 weeks of competition at the Super Series in Series 4, we'd have 3 different nationalities represented at Champions
99.
Week. An American, an Englishman and an Irishman.
Yeah, I'm looking at next week's lineup.
81.
Who knows? May get another nationality.
You little tease.
45.
Be announced by our social media team in due course.
96.
I think he's already out there.
60.
Only 60.
$58.
First of all, I read a comment by someone that apparently one of the players that will be playing in this competition soon struggles on stage should be okay here. But this is a stage setup.
80.
It's definitely off the ground by a good few feet. It's most definitely a stage.
58.
And one of the biggest stages to play on in the amateur side of the sport. And
60.
no need us to tell it. Just look at the reaction of the players who went on to win Champions Week and see how much it meant to them. Luke Littler, a player who's achieved so much in his
83.
young career, calling it the top.
149.
Well, for a lot of these players, it would be career high paydays.
97. And he requires 67.
For 2 apiece. You get 2 darts in his hand, a double 8.
Game shot on the fourth leg.
And it's
Andy
going to
Jenkins.
be an even more nervier wait for Johnny Haynes. It goes down to a best of 3 now to see who's going to claim the final spot at tomorrow's
Fifth leg
final.
mile to throw first.
Well, it may not be
Game
the
on.
greatest match in terms of the scoring phase, but both players 2 out of 3 on the doubles.
60.
These are 2 players that are trying to claw out whatever left they've got in
100.
reserve. So Niall Cullerton, it's been a long week. It began at 9:30 on Monday morning. He played the first match of the week. He'll be hoping to bookend it by playing the
40.
last.
This tie
100.
went all the way last night. Niall edging it all 3 with an 84 average. Of course, it was the
22.
57 tops that won it for him. With Andy waiting, Andy averaged 88.
81. 100.
Niall not having a lot to smile about at the moment. Sully Cully.
100.
You're proud of that one, aren't you?
I am. Like a Cheshire cat. That'll give him plenty to smile about.
120.
Like a Cheshire cat, he'll be purring. Tops for the 120.
Game
Oh, what a
Andy
big
Jenkins.
shot that is from Andy Jenkins. That could be a KO blow to Cullerton's hopes. And Johnny Haynes is definitely watching this next door because there's a little bit of a
Six-leg
cheer
Andy
from the
to
practice
throw
room
first.
because he knows
Game on.
that an Andy Jenkins hold in this leg will see him in tomorrow night's final at the expense of Niall Cullerton.
100.
The equation is simple now for Cullerton.
90.
He has to win everything from here on in. The room for error has become nil.
58. 190.
He's not done yet.
It's not over till it's over with Niall Cullerton.
60.
He's got this ability to dig in. And he's going to have to claw on those abilities here. 140 to leave him on 91 after 9. What a leg this is, given the circumstances behind it.
55. Neither require 91.
To ensure that we have a one-leg shootout to decide the final spot in tomorrow night's final. He's missprayed the tops.
59.
And so it's going to be double 16 upon his return for a 5-visit leg that will see the
28. All you require 32.
final spot in the group be decided by a solitary leg of 5:01.
Cullerton.
Hang on to your hats, folks. We're going all the way. Niall Cullerton finding a 13-dart breaker throw, which sent us to a 7th and deciding leg. A 7th and deciding leg, which will decide who the final player in tomorrow night's final is going to be. Now Cullerton has the advantage of throw.
95.
He wins. It's him. If Jenkins can find a break, Johnny Haynes will be through.
137.
Big time for a 2-treble visit for Jenkins. Johnny Haynes is watching next door, probably pacing up and down the room.
121.
Whatever fingernails he has left are probably being bitten off.
82.
Late night tungsten tension upon the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Back to back, 2 treble visits for Niall Cullerton has left him on a finish after 9. Jenkins needs a likewise visit. It's not going to happen.
98. Now you require 145.
And so Niall Cullerton has 6 starts on 145 to go through. 110 left.
55.
90 left upon his return. The task for Jenkins is to leave it as handily poised as possible. He does exactly that.
Now you require 90.
To send himself through. 2 darts, a double 15, and he moves inside. And so Andy Jenkins has the opportunity to send Johnny Hayes into tomorrow night's final. The tension inside the Live Lounge has become unbearable.
82.
Andy Jenkins,
59.
batting for Johnny Haynes, has 59 to send him through and to knock Cullerton out.
Game,
and he
stop.
only needs
And
1 dart at
Andy
tops.
Jenkins.
And Andy Jenkins has sent Johnny Haynes into tomorrow night's final, defeating Niall Cullerton by 4 legs to 3. Tension from first start to last here in Group B at the Live Lounge. Andy Jenkins getting the better of Niall Cullerton, defying a huge swing in the averages. And that's because of the 4 from 5 on the doubles. That's because of a clutch 120 finish from Andy Jenkins. And so we know the lineup now for Saturday night's final. And what a finals night we're going to have here at the Super Series to round up the incredible drama we've just witnessed over the last few minutes. Chris Mason has made his way upstairs to join Abigail Davies.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Henry. Drama right until the end. Niall Cullerton had done so well to produce a 13-dart break when it looked as though Jenks had done enough to get himself in front in that one. He will be sick as a dog. You've just walked through the practice room to get here, though. What was Johnny Haynes going through in there?
He was pacing up and down like an expectant father. That's the only way I can describe it. Yeah, real tough one. Niall Cullerton has grafted away all week and unfortunately will be going home with nothing. Well, BFH, bus fare home. Credit to Jenks. Again, it just shows the integrity. He had nothing to play for except pride and denied Niall a place in tomorrow night's final. But his loss is Johnny Haynes' gain.
Yeah, confirmation then when we look at the league standings. And as you mentioned there, you touched upon it, Jenks will not care one bit who goes through. That was all about Jenks putting down a marker saying, I am still very, very handy in these situations. So that's Andy Jenkins rounding things off with his only win of the evening. But Matt Dennant, Stuart White and Johnny Haynes all through to finals night. Who do you think out of those 3 players will be the biggest threat comes tomorrow night?
You probably think in the scoring department, you say Matty Dennant, but in terms of having an all-round game, scoring and finishing, you'd have to say Stuart White. He's been highly impressive. Both nights towards the back end, just slightly going off the boil. It didn't affect him last night, but certainly tonight. Hence, he finishes in 2nd spot, where he looked most likely to go on and win the group, but not to be.
Absolutely. Let's have a look then at the groups for finals night. A reminder that play will get underway from 7:30 p.m. tomorrow with the group stages. And what a cracker we have for you. Group 1, Neil Duff, Bradley Roos and Stuart White. And then Group 2, Conan Whitehead, Matty Dennant and Johnny Haynes. When you cast your eye over those, who's your winner, Mace?
Yeah, good luck with that. It's not a case of sitting on the fence. It's just almost impossible to pick one. It's probably the most wide open finals night I can think of for quite some time. Bradley's sort of struggled at times, and he's in a tough group there with Neil Duff and Stuart White. I was impressed with Neil Duff in large spells of his Group A victory. And then Conan Whitehead, Dennant and Johnny Haynes all in the same group. Yeah, good luck with that.
And you could make an argument for most of them, couldn't you? Because Neil Duff, as you mentioned, very solid, very consistent in Group A. Perhaps, though, a below-par group. Conan Whitehead, very similar, very, very impressive, but didn't really have too much in the way of a challenge. Bradley Roos got better, certainly, in Group C. Matty Dennant, as you mentioned a little while ago, good on the Pro Tour at the weekend, has brought that form into this. So it is going to be an incredible finals night to look forward to. We look forward to having your company. We will be on YouTube from 7:30 p.m. We look forward to seeing you then.